So today we're testing out the chosen racket of Carlos Alcaraz, the Babolat Pure Aero 98. I heard that up until this year he was using this racket at pretty much stock weight, which is crazy. So what are the specs? 305 grams in weight, 16-19 string pattern, 16-20 string pattern. I always get that wrong. Not very good at these racket reviews. Yeah, it's 16-20 string pattern, so slightly tighter string bed, something that's unusual in these sorts of rackets, but I actually think it works really well. And yeah, it's got a 98 square inch head. It's got a thinner beam than most Babolats, which is interesting. So it's slightly more geared to control and spin.
Do you know what the beam width is?
No idea.
Oh, okay.
Couldn't tell you, I just know it's a bit thinner.
Okay.
I actually tested this racket with All Things Tennis, and I tested this racket before I switched to the Head Extreme. I originally strung this with my own tension, my own string, 57 pounds, with Lynx Tour, and I honestly hated it. It felt like my arm was going to fall off. It felt stiff and, you know, just crap. I didn't like it. But then I went to All Things Tennis and they put their string in it, and it was slightly softer, lower tension, and I just loved it. I was already switched by then to the Head Extreme Pro 98, and I was kind of regretting my choices in a weird way. This was just performing so well. With a slightly lower tension and a slightly softer string, it was fantastic. But yeah, today we're gonna test it out, give it the full beans, see what it's got.
You don't talk about me the way you talk about rackets.
Yeah, do you look this good though? Actually, going on to that, the paint job, like, I actually really do rate it. I wasn't actually a huge fan of the old paint job, but I actually think this looks really good. And I like the way that they've gone with the gloss instead of the matte. It just feels nice in the hand. It feels more pro stocky, like a pro would play with it. But yeah, let's get into it. So I thought, why not try a few of the rackets out at the same time, compare the Aero 98 with something like the RF1 Pro, for all those racket nerds out there before you have a go at me, and then my racket of choice, which is the Head Extreme Pro 98. Forgot what my racket was called then.
You forgot all those specs.
The one thing
as well.
I'll say is this has had weight added to it. Yes, I know it's probably not a fair test, and also the RF Pro is heavier anyway. It's at 320, it's nearly 20 grams heavier. But it's similar head size, similar string pattern, so we'll just roll with it. Yeah, it's very good. Just feels pretty impossible to miss long with it. Feels like it just grips the ball so well, just launches it. I think it's probably because of the 16-20 string pattern. Just gives you that little bit more control. Yeah, the arc of the ball is just so aggressive. It's almost like it's going nowhere near the net on average, and it's just dropping so fast towards the baseline. Something that I haven't really felt on a lot of other frames. I mean, this racket would be perfect for slower outdoor courts where the damage is more about height and, pushing your opponent back. Look at that, just gets it up so easy. A very easy racket to use. Sorry. You okay? Does it look good? Does the racket look good? Does the yellow look good? can really see how this, start that again, really see how this racket allows you to play from the whole court. Just moving up, I can tell already that I'm going to have a lot of control on my volleys. So the racket does come at stock, very head light. So it's really easy to generate speed up the back of the ball and spin. I think this really changes the idea of what Babolat is all about. Instead of these big pure drive boomsticks, this is still powerful, but very, very measured power. Try turning it up a little bit, getting a bit more out of the racket. Bollocks. Yeah, it's like, I really feel like this is a pro level racket that you can just get on the shelf. It feels like really high quality. It feels like it's almost built for playing at a higher tempo. So much control on it. It's like, I can't believe it's almost a Babolat. You know, used to being uncontrollable with a Babolat. Hey. 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 Whoa, sorry, great ball. So I'm just going to try and stick to the baseline a little bit more, see how it handles that. Just for players who like to play a little bit flatter, closer to the baseline. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely got versatility. Very interesting. Like, I expected this to be, you know, another Babolat boomstick where you're just launching balls and every fourth one goes into the back fence. But a lot of control on this. Allows you to play a lot of different ways. Sorry. Great ball. Definitely recommend, is it back on? Camera woman's just going AWOL. Yeah, I definitely recommend stringing it a little bit looser, just to gain that full advantage of the spin, the control. 16-20 string pattern, you can afford to do that and not lose control, I think. Just look how easy it is to get the ball flight. It's one of the best arcs I've seen on a ball from a racket that I've been hitting with, just consistently. Sorry. facing the bubble. Let's change it up a little bit. Let's go for a little bit of the RF1. Let's go for a bit of Roger. See what he's got. Hey. Oh, straight. It doesn't sound quite as good, but it's just a different type of racket. Straight away, there's way more weight behind the ball. It's easier to just almost, sorry. Yeah, very interesting. This is almost like more powerful in a sense. It's like not as much control. The thing that I do like about this frame is the leather grip that it comes with, and the handle is such good shape. It's not something that's spoken about with rackets very often, but it's very comfortable to hold in the hand. I mean, who doesn't like using a Roger Federer racket? It's like the equivalent of watching Top Gun and putting on a pair of aviators. It's interesting. Although this is heavier, I just don't feel like I'm getting the same weight of shot that I was getting on the Babolat. See? So I do really like this racket. I just feel like the odd ball does fly. Bollocks. It's probably me just being shit. And I really find the gauge hard to get. Oh, yeah, just that little bit more uncontrollable. I think this compared to the Babolat, very interesting, but at the minute I prefer the Babolat. Practice partner was just telling me that the ball I'm hitting with the Babolat is far heavier and harder to control, as well as being more consistent. So that just shows you the RF obviously has its place. We haven't hit serves yet, but off the ground, I feel like the Aero really outperforms most of the other rackets. Hey. Hey. Saying that, I don't outperform them either. Yeah. Sorry, it's my fault. I'll focus again. Here we go. Hey. 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 Off the ground, it's definitely a bit of a boomstick. It's very good. Yeah, came through quick that. It's interesting, the balls that I feel like I'm going to be late on, because of the balance, the speed still comes through at the right time. Hiya. You can try it. Do you want to try it? Yeah. Has got a little bit of juice on it. It's got a bit of lead. This. See it. See if I can get some really good depth again. Just launches the ball. It's so heavy. Look at that, and then let's try and flatten it out again. Just can't get that highlight shot. Yeah, very easy to find that old depth. give it a little slice and dice here. Let's carve a few. Ah, it's weird how the weight is so light, but the ball comes off so heavy. Hey! Yeah, so much control on that slice. Look at that. It's all right. Shape him up there. Okay, bored of that now. Some topspin, please. We've only got so long to last there. Busy. Busy. I feel like this racket definitely helps me out as a one-hander. One being manoeuvrable, and the other giving me so much whip on that ball. Generating some serious revs on there. It's kicking like a donkey. Hey! 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 Just launching it. That's the ball. Sorry, caught it late a bit. First ball I've hit on the net, on the backhand side. It's interesting. Which really helps you to clear the net. Sorry, clear the net by a bit too much there. I do really like it. Yeah, so we've pretty much just finished hitting off the ground, testing these rackets out, and something really interesting is just how much control but at the same time spin power you get from this frame. Comparing it to the RF1 Pro, I was feeling like the RF1 was powerful, but it didn't really offer me that control bringing the ball back in the court. So don't get me wrong, it's a great racket to use if you enjoy power, you already have that control, whereas I feel like this really helps to just dip the ball back in the court. I was getting so many revs on the ball. The ball arc was so aggressive. It was just dipping every time. Even my practice partner was saying that the ball was almost heavier than the racket. The ball was almost heavier than what I was using. The ball was the ball was almost heavier than what I was hitting with the Head Extreme, which I thought was a pretty heavy ball. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how they perform at the net and also with serves. I really feel like this racket is going to perform very well at the net. I feel like maybe with the serves, I feel like the Head Extreme is probably going to be a bit better. Obviously, that's what I'm really looking for. It's what it's spec'd up to do. So yeah, let's keep going. Yeah. Ah? Shahot. Oh yeah, did we get that on camera? We can send you that one. Yeah, very crisp. Very crisp on the volleys. Ah, saying that. No, very, very crisp on the volleys. Interesting how this is such an all-court racket. Performs well from pretty much everywhere. Haha. Unintentional short volley. Very nice. Crisp. so easy to get the control. Ah! I feel like you can pretty much smash well with any racket. So I honestly don't feel like I've got enough pop on the serve as much as I would get with the Head Extreme or the RF97, but it's still very good considering that it's so good off the ground. And I feel like I could definitely add a little bit of weight to it to make it better in the serving department. See? Oh. Yeah, try a few returns out with it. Ah. Whew. Yeah, it really allows you to play a lot of high tempo. So maneuverable, quick around the baseline. There we go. Plum. For the last few minutes, going to go back to the Head Extreme. Give that a little bit of a comparison. Wide. Do feel like straight away I get more out of the serve of this thing. And it's a little bit more control orientated. Yeah. For me, I feel like the Head Extreme just has a little bit more quality to the frame, a little bit more substance, although the Babolat is very, very good. Hey, hey, ah. So, just before we get kicked off the court, quick recap. Aero, pure Aero 98, unbelievable racket. So clean from the back of the court, so much rip, aggressive arc, you name it, a lot of control. 16-20 string pattern really gives you that bite on the ball. I was a big fan. I don't feel like, well, I feel like it really performed well at the net. It's got so much control, it's head light. So at stock, it's very maneuverable, very controllable around the net. Really enjoyed it. I feel like serving with it was the only area where I thought it was average. Like it didn't stand out to me as an unbelievable racket for serving. Something like the RF1 Pro was far better, although I didn't serve in this video, I've served in previous videos. This stood out for me as a great racket for serving with, just because of that stability that it has built in, and also the added bit of weight compared to the Aero, a bit more pop. Really enjoyed serving this racket, but again, for me, I feel like all round, the best racket for me at the minute, the best racket for me on the minute, the best racket for me at the minute is the Head Extreme. I feel like, I know I've weighted it up, but I've tried it loads at stock. I feel like I've tried it a load at stock. Yes, and it's just a fantastic racket. So much control. Again, a lot of spin, a lot of pop, and yeah, stable at the same time. Not your average boomstick of a spin racket. So yeah, all in all, the Aero, Pure Aero 98, I keep getting the name wrong. The Pure Aero 98 really performed well. I was very impressed with this frame. Would highly recommend it for players who love to play from the baseline, but also can transition forward and volley. I'd say that really suits players who are playing on all surfaces. I wouldn't say that it particularly suits a slow surface or a quick surface. I feel like it's very versatile in that sense. I would highly recommend stringing it slightly looser and also with a slightly softer string. It is quite stiff sometimes, and I feel like the mistake that I made when I first played with it was stringing it really tight with a really stiff string, which is what I normally use in the Head Extreme and what I used in the Pro Staff RF97. So yeah, those are my bits of advice. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. As always, like and subscribe for more tennis content, and I'll see you next time.